How's everybody doing? I wanted to give everybody an update on the CL, how we did, and what happened, and what we're doing now. We raced a 12-hour race, and we made it to about the 8-hour mark, and our flywheel pulley failed. So this main pulley right here, this is all that's left of the old one. So we were running a smaller diameter aluminum flywheel pulley. So we're gonna go back with the steel and kind of see what happens from that. But yeah, that tiny little part, $75, took us out of the race. Due to the rules of Chump Car, their point value is once your car is worth more than 500 points, you get deducted laps. Now each lap is relative depending on how long the track is. So our track was about 1.5 miles, and our car was worth 600 points. Now this car is worth 550 points straight out of the gate. So due to the added things that we had done to the car, it was worth more. Like these right here, these adjustable rear arms, those are worth 20 points. So 20 points equates to 3 laps. So this aluminum radiator here, that's worth 20 points. That equates to 3 laps. This homemade moved over ball joint, that equates to 5 points since it's a homemade thing. So if a car has more than whatever the stock camber was from the factory, you're going to get ding points for any and all performance modifications to the car, even a radiator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with the original radiator. It's just a solid brass radiator. I'm not going to put the ones with plastic on the sides. I just think that those are a failure point. So I found one online that's just all brass. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just metal versus plastic sides. So we'll save 20 points there, and we're going to put these rear arms right here. We're going to put them back on the car, and that'll save us 20 points for the rear. But we started absolutely dead last, which was 51st place, due to the fact that our car was worth 600 points. So we had a 15 lap deficit from the start. So we had to make up 15 laps on 90% of the field in order to be in the top 5 or the top 10 to get up there. So we started dead last, and at 4:30 in the afternoon, we looked and we had made it all the way to, I believe, 16th or 17th place. So the car is, without a doubt, fast. 260 horsepower, 245 17s on it, gigantic brakes. This car will flat out roll. My father got in it, never driven a Honda in his life, didn't understand what VTEC was. And when he hit that 5,000 RPM mark, he came over the radio just tickled shitless. He was excited about the amount of power that was made with the J-Series engine from our last car, which was an 87 Legend that had the predecessor to this, which was the C-Series V6, which only made 160 horsepower. So we got a 100 horsepower jump on this car, but we also encountered an additional 600 pounds. So this car is heavier due to the fact that I'm still running the stock hood and I'm still running the stock trunk on this car. It weighs, with a full tank of fuel and no driver, 2,900 pounds, where our other car with no driver and about a half a tank of fuel, it weighed 2,470 pounds. So right now what I've been doing is gutting as much metal as I can. So far, that's the pile of stuff we've gotten out. I've gutted the trunk. I've gutted the passenger door more than it was. All this right here has been cut out all the way down the bottom. So we cut that out. If you come inside here, you can kind of see I gutted all that out. Now, it used to look like that over there. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to cut more of that out. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just strip the trunk down more. And I'm going to take the hinges, which are here. I'm going to take this whole hinge mechanism out of the car, all the latching stuff, and I'm just going to put 4 pins and pin the trunk down and say the hell with it. We're going to take this, you know, just for looks wing. We're going to take that off. We'll save some weight there. We're going to take these pretty Acura white painted mirrors. We're going to take them off because they have a motor inside, and those mirrors actually weigh a considerable amount. We're going to go back with these fancy chrome, oh yeah, Advance Auto $11.99 specials, and we're going to black the mirror out. It's what we did on our old car. We blacked the mirror out, and then we stuck these on there. These little bubble mirrors, they actually pivot to where you don't have to move the mirror. You can just touch the bubble and the bubble will move. So you get, you know, more of a better overall look in the mirror instead of just one plain direction. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to lighten the car. I've got both bumpers taken off. We're going to go with a full wraparound tubular bumper. That'll be for another video. I have the bumpers at the machine shop right now. They're going to bend me some 1 1/4 065 to fit there, and I've got to fabricate that up to the car. Another thing we're doing before our next race, we're actually headed to Watkins Glen. Never been to New York. It's going to be fun. I just want to make sure the car is ready for it. We're going with a different set of springs. I got these springs here, which are made by a company called Swift. I called them up. Now, these are the original stock springs, which are a 5-inch upper diameter that taper down to a 3-inch bottom diameter. The bottom has a pigtail and the top is cut flat. So what I have here is I actually had some 2.5-inch springs over there that were 550 pounds per inch. These are 450 per inch, and the stocks, which another set is on the car, those are like 290, 270 per inch. But they're progressive springs, so the more you compress, the higher they get. These springs here are not progressive, so every inch is an additional 450 pounds of pressure. So that'll be something to test, and we'll see what happens. But if anybody's looking to drop springs on their car, they can get a set of 14-inch springs that are 3-inch diameter, and they will fit perfectly on this mount here. So that's what I've got to do. I tried the 2.5-inch springs and they didn't quite fit, but these fit perfect in my opinion. So what I'm gonna do, I think the spring is a little too long, so I'm just gonna cut it about right here. That way I have a pigtail like the end of this one, and then the pigtail itself will just drop down into this channel here. And because see over here, it's resting on it, but nothing's over here. So this mount was designed to have a pigtail, bottom pigtail on the spring. So these are just flat, made for, I guess, a different style setup. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get some Bilstein struts, and we're gonna try those springs out because the front of the car was a little bouncy. I could say that's either the struts or the springs, but we had some 75-pound spring rubbers in there, some 296-pound springs, and some old Stag struts. So I don't know if the struts are bad, I don't know if the springs are too weak, but it's a heavy-ass car, and I'm taking what I learned from my old car and I'm putting it in this. So we had 450-pound springs in the front of the Legend. So if I'm gonna spend my money on anything, I'm gonna run tried and true. I know 450 worked the best in my old car, and this is the predecessor of that car. An Acura CL is an Acura Legend. Everything about it is. Some people might not think so, but it doesn't have the longitudinally mounted engine. But when I look at the suspension on this, and I look at the suspension on my 87, very, very, very few things have changed. So the only differences I really can tell is the rear of this car has a 5-link suspension instead of a 3. Everything else is pretty much the same. But yeah, it does well. The brakes, I'm very, very pleased with the brakes. The engine oil temperature was a little high. It was around the 275 range, just because she lives at $6,000 her whole life. So I'm fabricating the old oil condenser, or the AC condenser, into a gigantic oil cooler. And I've got a sandwich plate that was $190, made from, hell, I can't think of the name now. But I've got that. That's going to go in between the block and the oil filter down there. And it's got a built-in 180-degree thermostat. So that will open up when the oil reaches a good temperature, sending oil through the AC condenser, which is just a gigantic cooler. So we're going to try to cool the oil for the engine through that. That's per the Chant car rules, stating that anything that was stock on the car to begin with can remain on the car without a points value. So the only thing I'm really adding are 2 hoses that go to the thing. Instead of going to the AC compressor, it's going to the oil. So I shouldn't get docked for that, as for what their technician told me. So that's where we are as far as the car stands. Anybody got any tips? Anybody got any ideas? If this was your car, what would you do? Any comments would be great. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. The more people that subscribe, the better it makes me feel. The better I'm more apt to make videos about the car and the journey that it'll be on. And I'm sorry I haven't posted any race footage. When you're a one-man show and you're building the car and you're pretty much doing everything and you're driving it, and you have to keep track of so much shit goes on throughout the race, you just honestly have no time to bust out your camera and to film anything. And to add a GoPro to the car is just one more thing to deal with, trying to make sure it's recording. I've had bad luck with GoPro cards in the past. So it's just one less frustration on race day. And for the car to be on, it was its maiden journey, and it made it 2/3 of the race, or 3/4, whatever. It did really well. You can find other racers from the VIR 2018 South race, and you can watch their stuff on YouTube, and you'll see this car running. And what you'll really mainly see, you'll see this car passing just about every other car out there with a camera in it. If you see a 20-minute video and you watch it, I guarantee if it was the first half of the race, you are going to see this car pass whatever car had a camera in it, because it is that fast. Out of 51 cars, I would say this was the 3rd or the 4th fastest on the track. So it was a fun weekend. We all had a blast. So I hope y'all like these videos. Shoot me some comments, hit subscribe, share the love, show me that you like the videos, and I will try to throw the GoPro in the car. We're going to take it down to a test track here in Virginia. Once I get all the goodies put on the car, I'm going to throw a passenger seat in here. I'm going to get some of my slower drivers in there. I'm going to show them how I drive, and I know that's how I learned. I saw somebody drive, I was in the passenger seat, I felt what a car could do, and that's all it took. So I know my drivers can be faster if I can just show them how to drive, how to brake hard, how to downshift, how not to miss 3rd gear, or how not to miss 5th gear, really, because 5th gear and 3rd gear on this car is so close, you risk floating a valve if you drop it to 3rd, and that has happened twice already. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to try to cram a tiny little passenger seat over here, and hopefully none of my controls will get in the way. But that's where we are now, and thank y'all for watching. And if you haven't yet, please just hit the subscribe button. All I need is subscribers. Every subscriber makes me smile. I see the notification on my phone, and it really, really, really makes a big impact on me and on the videos that I make for the car. If you've been following the build so far, I appreciate you for watching. I really do. And tune in. See y'all next time.